Today, we are covering injured spouse claims using Form 8379, a topic the exam loves to test by confusing it with innocent spouse relief. An injured spouse claim arises when a married couple files a joint return, is due a refund, but that refund is seized or offset to pay a past due debt belonging solely to one spouse. These debts are specific, including past due federal or state taxes, child or spousal support, or federal non-tax debt like student loans. The key here is that the other spouse, the injured spouse, is not responsible for this debt, but loses their portion of the refund. The exam will test your ability to identify this exact situation. For instance, a question might state that Mark and Sarah filed a joint return and were due a $3,000 refund. However, the entire amount was offset to pay Mark's delinquent child support from a previous marriage. The question will ask what Sarah's recourse is. Her recourse is to file Form 8379 to claim her share of the overpayment. The biggest trap on the exam is confusing injured spouse with innocent spouse. Remember this phrase: you are injured by the offset, but innocent of the error. An injured spouse using Form 8379 is trying to recover their portion of a refund taken for their spouse's separate debt. An innocent spouse using Form 8857 is seeking relief from additional tax liability caused by their spouse's erroneous items on a return they both signed. The exam will give you a scenario and offer both forms as answer choices. You must identify if the issue is a seized refund or an understated tax liability. Another critical area tested is the allocation of income and withholding. Form 8379 requires the joint return items to be split between the spouses. The injured spouse must calculate their specific share of the refund. This is done by allocating all wages, self-employment income, deductions, credits, and tax payments to the spouse who earned or incurred them. For example, if Sarah earned $60,000 with $10,000 in withholding, and Mark earned $40,000 with $3,000 in withholding, these amounts are allocated to each of them respectively to determine Sarah's portion of the joint refund. Community property states add another layer of complexity. If the couple lives in a state like Texas or California, community income is generally split 50-50, regardless of who earned it. The exam could present a scenario in a community property state where only one spouse works. You would need to know to allocate half of that spouse's income and withholding to the other spouse when calculating the injured spouse's share. Finally, know the filing procedures. Form 8379 can be filed in two ways. It can be attached to the original joint tax return if the offset is expected. If you do this, you must write injured spouse in the top left corner of the Form 1040. Alternatively, if the couple files and is surprised by an offset notice from the Bureau of the Fiscal Service, the injured spouse can file Form 8379 by itself after the fact. The exam will test this timing. If a question states the offset has already occurred, the correct answer is to file the form by itself, not to amend the return. An amended return is incorrect and a common distractor answer.